Hello, Times viewers, Judy Shields here. I'm so excited to introduce award-winning actress, producer, talk show host, singer, celebrated author, autism activist, and a woman I refer to as Wonder Woman, Holly Robinson Peete.
Hi. Hi, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, we're so excited that you had time to join us in your busy schedule, no doubt.
Yeah, I make time for the things that are fun.
Oh my gosh. So we are here, folks, to talk to you about your newest children's book, Charlie Makes a Splash, that you co-wrote with your son, RJ. When did you decide it was time to write this book with RJ?
Well, this is the companion book to another book that I co-wrote with RJ's twin sister called My Brother Charlie, and we wrote that in 2012. It's been over 10 years. So I wanted to continue Charlie's adventures, but this time I really felt like it was important to include RJ in the narrative so that he could really kind of, we hear his voice. Um, RJ always loved water. He loved swimming, everything about water. And for a long time, I've wanted to do a book that sort of celebrated his passion for water, whether it's swimming, scuba diving, anything involving water, an aquarium, being outside in the rain, surfing, you name it. And so it was just really important for me to include RJ in this endeavor for this book.
So you came to him and said, "Hey, son, we're going to do this book," and you got a hold of this. Your illustrator, Dane Evans, is amazing.
Oh, he's unbelievable. He's so brilliant. The way he brings to life these characters and this animation, his art is just stunning. Every time I look at the book, I'm just like, wow, this guy's amazing. So absolutely so excited about him being a part of our book. He was a part of My Brother Charlie as well. I just told RJ, I just said, listen, I really want to hear your voice. He loved My Brother Charlie. He knows how impactful it has been in the autism community and for, young readers. So he was down to be part of Charlie Makes a Splash. And we really helped tell the story through RJ's eyes as Charlie about what water means to him.
Yeah, there's so many different. I have the book here, and I read it to my 4-year-old grandson, and he loves water, so he enjoyed it even more so. He's like, "Grandma, look, we have to get a dog so he could go in the water," and all the different things that they
Yeah,
showed.
Grandma, you got to get a dog.
All these different things that he saw with that. It's an amazing story for especially parents that have a child who has autism. I don't have anybody in my family or friends that have a child that has autism. What do you tell people about autism?
Well, that's getting less and less frequent now. I mean, with the numbers are 1 in 36. So most people do have someone. If they don't have someone in their immediate family, they know someone who at least knows someone who's dealing with autism on some level. It's all about compassion and understanding. And you start the ball rolling by reading it to your grandson. Like that's really why we wrote the books. We wanted kids to read these books at an early age so they would start developing a compassion, a sense of inclusivity, and kindness and awareness and acceptance for people who think differently. And especially in school, kids can be, a little tough. And so you want them to have that compassion. You want them to understand how important it is to be kind to kids who are different.
Yeah, I see in the back you have back here it says why we wrote this book and how it can help you. That's a great insight right there. Just reading that, it's like the parent.
We wanted to make sure that that back matter was really strong.
Yeah.
It was so important. And my editor at Scholastic was like, this is like really important after they finish this beautiful book with these beautiful pictures. And it's just like they want resources to help their kids. So we wanted to put together lots of information in the back to help families give them information that I certainly didn't have in 2000 when RJ got the diagnosis. So I think it was really important to put that back there.
Yeah, and then there's also something, a word from RJ. So that must have touched your heart too, that that he's got something.
I can't even read it without crying, because just to think of how far we've come. He's 25 now. And when I think about how far we've come and from where he used to be, how when he was 3 and diagnosed, he was told he would never do a lot of things. And, one of them is meaningful employment. And he's now working for the Dodgers. He has a set of friends, and he never had friends really growing up, not too many. And so, yeah, it's really touching to see him expressing himself and expressing gratitude to me. I love it.
So was he 2 or 3 when they diagnosed him?
He was 3 years old in 2000 when he got diagnosed, and I kind of knew something was up when he was 2, but it was hard for me to get him diagnosed. It was really hard for them. I kept hearing pediatricians say, "Oh, he's a twin, right? So, he don't compare him to his twin sister because, boys are this, boys are, a little develop a little slower." And that was frustrating for me because I was a rookie mom. I never had kids before. So I really didn't have any benchmarking or milestones. I didn't know. So I really only had his twin sister to compare him to. And they just kept telling me, saying, "Don't worry, he's a boy. He'll come around." And I have to say, as a mom, an autism mom, I kind of still beat myself up about that, because that's a whole year of intervention that we could have gotten for him. Mm-hmm. So I always say to parents that may be looking at their son and be like feeling something in their gut, to go with that and to really fight hard to either rule it out or get some diagnosis or figure out what's delaying your child. Don't let someone tell you, "Oh, he's a boy," or "Don't worry, they'll be fine," because that window of time and early intervention is really key.
And where would you tell parents to take their son or daughter who might have problems that they're not aware of?
Well, the hardest part is, getting the diagnosis is not easy because it's costly. And you have to, if you're trying to get it, covered, or if you're struggling, or if are just trying to make ends meet, getting a diagnosis or getting an evaluation can cost a lot of money. There are some places you can go. One of my favorites is Easter Seals. A lot of people don't realize that Easter Seals does great work in this autism space. And that's a good place to turn to. And there are a lot of branches around the country. And then, there are a lot of different hospitals, and sometimes your school can help get you an evaluation as well. So that's the hardest part. You have to be very resilient. You have to roll up your sleeves and fight hard and advocate for your child. But those were the parts I found were the hardest, to try to get the diagnosis, to try to get someone to not shoo me away with my crazy mommy thoughts and my mommy diagnosis and my inner gut, which we know is always right in some ways, and other people don't always listen to. And so you have to be super resourceful, but there are ways to get your child diagnosed and ways to get them evaluated and get that covered, but you have to be very, very resourceful. The good news is we have so many more resources now. Even back in 2000, there weren't very many places you could go to find ways to get a diagnosis. But now there are, which is great.
And I understand that my oldest boy, who's 37 now, he had dyslexia. And it wasn't until the 5th grade till I had to take him to UCLA for studies to find out that's what he had, because I wasn't sure what it was. And in 6th grade, he had a teacher who just loved him and took him in, and he went from a D&F student to graduating from high school with B's. I
love that. I love that, but it's really about awareness and acceptance. Yes. And that's why we wanted to write these books, because we feel like the earlier other children become aware of what autism is, the less they'll stigmatize it and the more they'll accept it, and kids can thrive at school. A lot of times in public schools, you have kids that are, having to be on an IEP, which is, those 3 letters, that acronym can really scare parents, because you have to fight so hard to get services and things. Sometimes they'll tell you your kid needs 5 hours of speech therapy when he really needs 10. So you have to constantly stay and fight to get the interventions that your kid needs. But again, the positive side is that we have so much more options to have awareness about what autism is and what ADHD is and what dyslexia is. These are things that when I was a young girl in school, we didn't talk about. So just having this conversation is already a great thing. And we've made lots of strides with a long way to go.
Yes, no kidding. And another question back to the book. What are some of the fondest memories of RJ around water? And did you capture those in the book?
My favorite thing about RJ with water is how it would calm him down, and this book was written about a lot of those watery experiences that would really give him, he just felt so good in his body around water. But probably the earliest memory was him learning to swim. So that was at a time when he was around 2, and he didn't have the autism diagnosis yet, but he learned to swim really early because he's always trying to jump in the pool. So we had to, for his safety, get him to understand how to be in the pool and be pool safe. But there was a time when, we did swim classes with a lot of other kids. And it was a time when he wasn't very, very verbal. He didn't have very good social interaction with other children. So all the other kids would be chit-chatting and talking to each other and responding to the teacher in a way, swim teacher. And RJ was just kind of in his own world. But when the teacher said, okay, RJ, swim to me, man, that kid was like a guppy. He was the best swimmer in the group. And so and the other kids, were crying and scared to get in. And RJ was like, bam, like just no fear. And so that was one of the times that made me feel really like, oh, he's got a particular set of skills, right? He's different in ways that sets him apart that are good. That's when I started to see the differences being his strengths.
Yeah. So I guess whenever you get a new house, you have to make sure you have a swimming pool so that RJ could be around water, right?
Yeah, or take him to the beach.
Yeah.
Or now he finally got, we used to go on vacation places, and as a young boy, he would be a great swimmer, but they would never certify him for scuba diving because of his autism. But when he was, I would say 2019, he finally got certified. And that was really, really a special moment because he could be down there forever.
Did that make you fearful though of him wanting to be underwater for that long? Or not?
No, because as long as he knows how to be safe, I mean, he definitely wants to breathe,
Yes.
So he knows how. It's just what made me fearful was them not wanting to teach him or saying he couldn't be taught because of his autism. I was like, wait, that's like a cart before the horse situation. Like, he wants to swim, he wants to scuba dive, and you're telling me you can't teach him because he has autism, but he's so amazing in the water. So we finally found that was actually at Beaches Resort, which is highly trained for kids on the spectrum. Beaches were the ones that were like, oh, we will definitely certify him. And it was a moment when he got his certification because he could do it. It was just a matter of someone believing in him and teaching him in a specific way that worked for him.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. That's a great story. Go, RJ.
Yep.
Also, I wanted to talk about your Hollyrod Foundation.
Yeah, so we started Hollyrod back in 1999 to support families impacted by Parkinson's disease, which my dad had and my brother currently has. But what happened was when we got the diagnosis in 2000, we knew that we wanted to advocate. I shouldn't say that. Once we got comfortable with the diagnosis because it was tough in the beginning.
Yes.
Then we decided we were going to come out and talk publicly about RJ's journey and share that journey with the world. But that was a tough decision because we didn't want him to be, labeled as the poster child for autism. And then his dad had a lot of issues with that. But we knew we had a really strong platform to affect change. And we decided to sacrifice the privacy of what we were going through to maybe help someone else feel seen and heard. And I'm so glad we did that. It was a little difficult in the early days, but now it's not accolades, but the feeling that I get when I talk to families who either got one of our books or saw our advocacy somewhere, and it made that journey for them a little safer or easier. That was a great feeling. And that was a result of making that decision so many years ago.
And then also, how was RJ's place? Tell us about that.
So RJ's Place, it was our goal to build this autism job training, compassionate care center where we do, therapies and roundtables and seminars, and we bring specialists in to talk about everything from, study habits to financial literacy for people on the spectrum, and all kinds of things that we do there. And it's just been great. We opened it right before the pandemic, and of course the pandemic came in and we had to close it for a year. So that kind of slowed our progress, but we're back up and going, and our programs are going again. One of our programs that we do at RJ's Place that we love is called Jump Night with RJ. So RJ loves jumping on the trampoline. It is a form of stimming, if you will. It's a sensory form of getting his body right, for lack of a better word, for lack of a better phrase. And even now at 25, when he goes to work for the Dodgers and he comes home late, if he's worked long, he'll get on that trampoline for like 2 hours, all 6'3" of him. Yes, it calms him all the way down. It makes him feel good. It makes him feel, it provides him some sensory input that he desperately needs still. And then, so the jump night is great because we shut down trampoline parks for just our families. And it's a chance to jump without judgment. It's a chance for them to go and be, in a space, and they can flap and stim and melt down if they need to, and no one's, calling the manager. So it's really awesome. And then another one of our programs that we do at RJ's Place is it's Cool to Fly American. So American Airlines partnered with Hollyrod Foundation to help families get a chance, a test run at the airport and traveling. For me as a mom, that was one of the hardest things to do with RJ when he was little. People were not compassionate. People were downright cruel, if I really am honest. And it was hard, so this is a chance to give these families a chance to navigate the sensory jungle that is the airport. It can be so hard. So they come in, they check in, they learn how to go through TSA, because sometimes you go to TSA and they're yelling at you, take your shoes off, do this, that, other. It's like, wow, it is too early in the morning for all this yelling. Well, if you have a child that is on the spectrum or has some kind of intellectual developmental situation, then that can be really hard for a kid to be yelled at like that. And so RJ used to kind of freak out, and they touch the side, set off the metal detector, go running. It was crazy. And so this just gives families a chance to get a feeling for what it's like. Then we get on the plane, we board, we get on the runway, we taxi around the airport, we rev up the engines, we don't quite take off, but it's a chance for them to feel that. And so we get a lot of families who are either getting ready to go on vacation this summer. It's a tremendous program. So that's one that we really.
I have to tell my viewers, honestly, I'm not that much of a reality show watcher, but folks, let me tell you, you have to go and invest in Hallmark now, because there was a show on there called Meet the Peetes. That's how I fell in love with Holly all over again. Her husband, her wonderful kids. It's just an amazing. I mean, what was it like having that camera follow you around for all those seasons?
No, it was, and it's funny in hindsight, now that my kids are grown up, they love watching them. They laugh, all that stuff. But at the time it was, it was a challenge having them. They didn't stay overnight with us, but we know in the morning we get up and it was like a 9 to 5, we would just discuss our issues, in front of the world. And it was entertaining and fun and wholesome. We weren't flipping tables and throwing wine glasses at anybody. It was a very wholesome form of reality. But it was also very aspirational, right? We wanted to tell the story of what it was like to help a young man like RJ, navigate the world with his autism. So we got to see him get his driver's license. We got to see him get his job. We got to see him figure out social media. He tried his hand at modeling. Like, there were so many different things. So I definitely encourage people to go back and stream those shows. We did 4 seasons on across 2 different networks. We did For Pete's Sake on OWN network, and those are all online. And then we did Meet the Peetes on Hallmark. And it was just a really tremendous experience. And the kids really have learned to appreciate it now.
It was great seeing Robinson, your son, act with you. That was just, that was amazing.
Yes, like come on. And when I tell you we watch that now, it is the funniest thing watching them go, oh my gosh, look at me, because he's was so clean cut and nervous and all that. But yeah, we had some fun situations and loved it, really enjoyed it.
And your daughter Ryan, is she living her musical career that she wanted to be in?
She's still, working on projects, and she's a work in progress with her stuff. And she graduated from NYU. She loves it. She loved it. She got a degree in recorded music, and she's still figuring it out, finding herself. But that's what happens with our kids. We have to give them the space to grow and find their journey and their path.
And then also I'm reading all this stuff about you that you were executive producer and starred in your first movie on Hallmark about autism called The Christmas Bond with Nick Sanchez, who was an actual actor with autism. What was that like for you?
Oh, it was so great, because I had been asking to try to do a movie like this, but to be able to have a young man like Nick Sanchez play this character, and he is actually autistic, to have him, play this character, and for it to be the very first movie of its kind, Christmas movie, that's centered around this family and how autism can impact negatively and positively the family and things that we have to go through. It was really fun and groundbreaking, and it was definitely a bucket list project that I'm super proud of.
Yeah, it's like I'm reading, it says you've done 15 movies. I've seen all your movies. I love your mystery shows. That was great. It's just been so much fun.
I miss those mysteries. Those were so much fun. Like Morning Show Mysteries was such a fun ride. We made 6 movies, and I wish we could make some more. We're not, but like at least they get to like live over there on Hallmark now. And it's good. It's good to have that content. But I really did enjoy making Morning Show Mysteries.
So what are your husband and you working on currently?
Well, we are now on another reality show, different genre, or different type of reality. It is called Queen's Court. It's on Peacock. Oh. It is a dating show. And so it's 3 women in their 40s. So they've gone through some things. They're celebrities, and they're figuring out like how to work on themselves and how to, find that person. And it was actually very good and very successful. We loved working on it. It's streaming now, and it did very, very well. And it's a great binge. If you like that kind of programming, you'll love Queen's Court. So we enjoyed it, and it was fun working together. It was fun working together with him again.
I bet. That's great. And what else is happening with the foundation? Any galas coming up or things you can share?
Yes. Thank you for asking. Our big 25th anniversary gala is coming up on July 15th. We are so excited about it, and it is a big number for us. So we want to really level up and do some cool stuff. And we're really excited about our honorees and the type that the people we're honoring, but also, just having people there that have been there since day one. And this is a celebration of people who have helped us build this nonprofit. And so we're really excited. We're going to do it at RJ's place again. And I think it's going to be great. So looking forward to that.
We would love to come and cover it for you.
Oh, for sure. You got to come. Got to come.
I would love to do that.
Yes.
Oh, so do you have any other movies coming up that you're working on? Any little secrets?
No movies, but mainly Queen's Court. We will probably be going back into production for that very soon. And as you know, there's a writer's strike happening. So everything is a little bit quiet out here. I'm hoping that gets resolved quickly and people can go back to work. But mainly talking about the book and doing a lot of, autism awareness, traveling, speaking, empowerment seminars and things. I spend a large amount of my time. I don't think people know how much of my time talking to strangers. I do. I talk to strangers, not not a stranger like someone I've just met, but people who have just gotten the autism diagnosis and are really looking for someone to talk to. I come across these people through friends of friends, through Twitter, through Instagram. People will DM me and ask me questions. And I spend probably about 15 hours a week just having conversations. And I do this on purpose because I don't have a whole lot of free time, but it's so important to be able to talk to somebody and who's been through what you've been through. And I just didn't have anybody like that back in 2000. So I make a lot of time to make that happen. And I think it's game changing for a lot of families just to be able to have someone to give them their testimony and to listen to and to talk with.
And this is why I refer to you as Wonder Woman. You're amazing.
Oh, well, I mean, and that feeds my soul. Like I just know, I know when I listen to the things they say, they all say the same things. It's the same themes. You know, I don't want to die because if I die, what happens to my child? Like the nightmares that they have at night, worrying about the world. You know, I always say I wouldn't change RJ for the world, but I would always try to change the world for RJ because RJ is such an awesome kid and he's one of a kind. He's one of one. But people out there in this world can be so cruel and mean-spirited. So I will constantly continue to talk to people to try to change the world and make the world a better place for these really beautiful children and young people who just process the world differently.
Yeah. And I have to talk about one of my all-time favorite shows, The Masked Singer. Come on, you were on as the fairy. I mean, no one had any idea it was you, and you were on. You won the Battle Royale on Sesame Street night. What was that like?
It was some full circle stuff right there.
Right?
Like that part I was so happy about. Like I was really excited to do the show. I've had friends that have done it and they encouraged me to do it. But I was just blown away that no one knew who I was, especially Nick Cannon standing right next to me, who I've known for 100 years. Everybody on the panel, I mean, no one was even close. They were like, here's a badge and here's 21. I'm like, oh, come on, guys. Come on. But nobody
knew either.
Yes, they did not get it. So, but I really enjoyed myself and it was a fun experience.
Is it really a secret that no one knew, your family?
Yeah, and if you tell them, you have to make them sign NDAs. And my kids let me tell you, they felt so important signing an NDA. They're like, Mom, it's like you're Beyonce or something. I'll sign an NDA for you. They loved the whole idea of not telling anyone and waiting for it to air and then for me to be unmasked. But yes, total blast.
It was amazing. So what is your social medias that our viewers can find you?
Yeah, Holly R. Peete, Peete, one E, extra E in the middle. I'm pretty much that everywhere across all social media.
Okay. And then the Holly Rod Foundation, does that have a separate one?
Yeah, that's oh gosh, not to figure out. Holly Rod FDN. Holly Rod FDN.
Okay.
So HOLLYROD FDN. And that's on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
Awesome. Well, we'll make sure we get that all out for all of our readers at that point to be able to find you and help support all your causes. And we really appreciate and I'm so excited that you were able to join us today.
Oh, it's totally fun. Thank you for talking about Charlie Makes a Splash. And I would encourage people to go get the book for your children's library, and get a couple of them. Get one for your child's library, get one for your child's school library, and maybe for even the public library. These places take donations. And I think it's a great book to continue to spread acceptance, inclusion, and awareness of autism.
I think it's a great book to get for baby showers and for all the upcoming birthdays, right?
Yes, build that children's library.
Exactly. Well, we appreciate that.
Thank you.